Hi guys, this is a presentation which we have created for Moringo Bioscience, and it is a presentation created by Shushmita Acharya and Pratik Acharya, which is myself here. And so, what do we see, or what does the data tell us about the current health scenario in our current day and age? So, this is all in very average terms, which we can see over here, which is something which I think which most of us know, or which we can already feel, right? That about 30 years ago, approximately you can say 20% unhealthy, 80% healthy. The reason why is because yes, people still had to go to hospitals, but not so much as frequently as now. But now, see, now what has happened in very average terms is that 20% still people have to, whenever there is any crisis, especially in COVID times, anything, people have to rush to hospital, especially when there is weather changes, viral fever, etc., also all sorts of that. But now what the change what has happened is that 80% people are prone to illness. We are surrounded in every manner, in every way, in such a way that there is almost no escape for us. And we are completely, what we can say, and this is what the data is telling us. So what we can see over here is the latest facts, and these are some of the facts which I will show you. And see, this is some sort of sort of like a wake up call, sort of what feels like, what I mean, we already see this happening each and every day. Obesity is on an exponential rise. I mean, the number of people who are obese nowadays is crazy. You walk a few steps into the streets and you see people who are absolutely have no control over their diet, on their food, and they're completely obese. And the main problem is that obesity brings in a huge number of diseases with it. Next is the rise of non communicable diseases. What we mean by non communicable diseases is diseases which are not transferred by touch or via bodily fluids or anything. They are actually diseases which are occurring inside the human body due to our poor lifestyle choices, due to our poor diets, and poor, what we can say. I mean, everything is I mean everything is a contributing factor, and that is the reason why you see so many people having cardiac arrests. I mean, there is a latest data on people having 30s, and people in their 30s and 40s having sudden cardiac arrests. They are going into sudden, they're having sudden heart attacks. And I mean, it's a crazy situation over here. Seriously, diabetes. I mean, India is known as the diabetes capital of the world. There are so many people who are affected by diabetes type 2. I mean, children, newborn children are having diabetes because their parents are diabetes affected. I mean, this is the reason why. And obviously cancer is on a huge rise nowadays. Very basic. COVID-19 pandemic has absolutely changed the way in which we look into health. Previously, it was sort of like, I mean, we could keep our health priorities at bay. We I mean, as long as we know, we used to delay our visit to the hospital and everything. But now what COVID-19 pandemic has showed us the importance of immunity in our lives. I mean, if we have strong immunity, that is the only way in which we can survive in these turbulent times, especially how we can survive in an environment where new viruses can come up at any point of time. And next is obviously health disparity. What I simply mean by health disparity is the fact that people have don't have the equal means of getting health, basically, health infrastructure, access to health infrastructure. People who are elite rich, they can easily go for an experimental surgery or an experimental drug outside of the country. They can pour lakhs and crores of their money and their savings and whatever there is into getting these rare medicines. But can an individual, can a normal individual like us, can even think of going into that direction? So that is the reason why. And if you look even just beyond you, if you look towards, very poor rural areas, people who have no access to even basic medical facilities such as MRI, USG, or even that's sort of, basic checkups which needs to be done. Things are in a very, very dire state right now. Okay, so what we need to ask over here is, why is our health deteriorating? I emphasized just a little while, right, that our immunity needs to be strong, but how can our health, why is our health deteriorating? You have to understand the why. Only and only if we can understand the why, accept the why, then and only we can move forward. Okay, so now let's understand the factors. See, I think one of the major factors is obviously work life imbalance. I mean, the current scenario, especially in India, or yeah, especially in Asian countries and South Asian countries, the work life imbalance is absolutely screwed over here. The reason why I'm using that word is because people are working 10 hours, 11 hours, even 12-hour shifts, and they are getting very meager income. And the worst thing is that, apart from your work, you have life, right? You have your other responsibilities, you have your other passions, you have your other commitments, but nothing. I mean, that is the reason why there is such an imbalance. If you're putting one, we all get 24 hours a day, but if you're putting half of your valuable time in just one portion, then what will you do? You will just, you need sleep, you need time to wake up, you need time to eat, you need time to do everything other else. So that is the biggest thing which I feel, work life imbalance. Now other thing is that fast paced life. See, this is not necessarily a bad thing, but this is not necessarily a good thing either. The reason why is that because we don't, nobody, not a single person on this planet right now, I would say, has even a little bit of time to, you know just stop doing whatever they're doing for about 5 minutes. Just stop and admire, just look around. Everyone it's hustling and bustling, and everyone needs to go from A to B. Everyone needs to get their work done as fast as possible. There is no time to stop, no time to waste. And that is, I mean, that's just how life has become nowadays. Now the next thing is that obviously new bacteria and virus. I mean, the biggest example of this is COVID-19. I mean, we all, I mean, especially, I don't know about other countries or other places, but especially in India, I have seen is that, we get, some sort of like a season where especially the weather is very turbulent. So we have something called, the monsoon season, where, you know little by little the temperature, sometimes rises, it drops. So people, basically, the viruses and everything, bacteria, everything just, becomes very hyperactive, and people, easily start coughing. And all of these, coughing, sneezing and everything, all of these are very contagious. But COVID-19, the reason why I'm mentioning COVID-19 is just an aggravated, mutated version of that virus. So imagine, I mean, COVID-19 was just the start. There are hundreds and hundreds of viruses, especially, so you could hear people saying in South India, somewhere in the state of Kerala, you could hear people saying people being affected by monkeypox. So I mean, if people are affected by monkeypox and everything, I mean, those are just, viruses or news which we hear much later. But the time, you can always remember that by the time you hear it in the news, it's already too late. So just remember, I mean, if we are not strong ourselves, then bacteria, I mean, nothing ever stops, right? Bacteria will not just stop by themselves. They will need, I mean, we need to get basically much stronger. Okay. Second thing, and the most important thing, is that our food habits have completely changed. Earlier, what we used to have, and I would say in very average median terms, is that people used to have access to fresh fruits and vegetables, and, uh, you know basically we had access to fresh nutrients which actually gave us strength, which actually gave strength to our cells, which actually gave nutrients to our body, so that we can actually fight off these viruses and bacteria. But now our daily life, or our diet has become so poor that we are literally enslaved to processed foods. And the next thing which we see is obviously water pollution. I mean, along with food, water, I mean, we are literally polluting so much water around us. You look at all these big factories and everything, and especially in India where there is a very less regulation. I mean, we have absolutely no consideration for our environment, and yet we are polluting our water day by day. That, even, I mean, forget drinking now. Drinking is out of question. But if you look at, I mean, even putting that, even bathing in that water might cause you skin rashes, and you have to immediately rush to the doctor. That is the state of our current water scenario in our India now. you know this is just how water has been. I mean, you tell me one household where there is not an aquaguard, an RO, or some sort of because, I mean, just look at how many chemicals are found in tap water. I mean, this is just basic idea, how much dangerous chemicals, arsenic, lead, fluoride, fertilizers, microbes, so many dangerous contaminants can be found in your water. I mean, the latest example of it can be found in this health warning of ours. Why I'm saying it in health warning? We all remember Mahakumbh, which happened a couple of months ago, and then during that Mahakumbh, we found that, you know, due to our human waste, that there were so many people there, and due to our human waste, I mean, peop I mean, that water had so much human waste that it was actually dangerous for us to actually even breathe. And see, this is what religion does to us. That we ignore what is right in front of us. We ignore logic and science, and we still go because that is what our culture tells us to do. There's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, we are ignoring basic principles of what how we should live, and that is the current scenario, guys. This has just happened a couple of months ago. Air pollution. I mean, next, I mean, literally air we breathe. I mean, I have countless examples. So many of my friends who are living in Delhi. I mean, I can recount. I used to live in Delhi a couple of years ago, and even that time, I used to feel that the condition of air was absolutely abysmal. I mean, every time in the month of November and December, I mean, there used to be news headlines mentioning that that there is so much, that there is fog, there is smog, and people, you know, s- basically children are not able to go to school. You need to have an air purifier in your home. You need to have an air purifier in your car, for God's sake. I mean, you cannot live without an air purifier, and probably in Delhi in the months in the winter months. But that was a few years ago. Now it has become a literal gas chamber. I mean, you have all heard the news that life expectancy in Delhi because of this air pollution has reduced by 12 years. That is not less, guys. I mean, we all know we could die by an accident the next moment, but imagine someone just slashing 12 years of your life just like that. And I mean, that's the reality over here. And speaking of reality, this is what's probably, I mean, that is what the reality was for us, right? A couple of years ago, I mean, in pandemic, I mean, we all had to wear masks. I mean, that was the reality for us. That is the reality check for us, that without masks, I mean, police and everything, police would chase us. There would be fines, hefty fines, which we needed to pay in case if we're not wearing masks. But I mean, this two pictures just might be reality in the next 50 years. When we live in our homes, we probably have to live in hazmat suits, because the air might just get so toxic, so much toxic, that people or children or everyone living, has to live like this. Otherwise, the condition might just be in unbearable. Okay. And now, I think the dangerous thing which I feel is pesticides, especially in our country, India, where the oversights of regulation is absolutely, I mean, it's nowhere to be seen. Regulation in India is a myth. The reason why I'm saying that is because pesticides in small quantities is fine, but pesticides in anyone can take pesticides, just throw whatever, just make sure that they are not the ones consuming it, other people are consuming, that's fine, I don't care, I get my money, I get paid, that's it. I mean, that is the condition of us. And see, this is the reason why I feel pesticides is so dangerous. I mean, you look at pesticides, look at the number of diseases it can cause cardiac failure, lung cancer, ovarian cancer, osteoporosis. Aren't these names a bit familiar? Aren't these getting too much familiar nowadays? I was just saying that people are getting so many cardiac arrests, people are getting affected by lung cancer. There is hormonal problems which are occurring, osteoporosis where the bones are getting, basically the bones are not strong enough. People are getting vitamin D deficiency nowadays, so many. And this is what happens. You think that you just little bit of pesticides won't do any harm to you, but look at what happens. It goes into the soil, it goes into our food, and it goes into our bodies, which we are consuming each and every day. And look at that, food contamination is an exponential rise, especially in India. I mean, look at the number of chemicals which are used to pack our foods. I mean, from getting it to from A to B, which we have to make sure that this. I mean, this is just this is becomes. I mean, especially in India, the condition is so worsened that, as I mentioned, no rules, regulations, nothing. So what do we understand? That basically, immune deficiency. This occurs due to the way which we are selecting our food. See, ideally, what should be our healthy nutrition should basically be a balanced combination between all the basically fat, sweets, milk, vegetables, everything in balanced portion throughout the day, 3 meals a day. You might have few snacks, maybe taken healthy snacks or something, but just get throughout the day in a very balanced manner. But this is the reality of our condition over here. See, everything has been replaced by processed food, junk food, everything. I mean, without I mean, I can't recall if I can even go about a week or so without consuming a single junk food, because it is pervasive, it is everywhere. I mean, everywhere you look at, junk food is easily available, it's readily available, and it is more, and it's people, it's on demand, people like to consume it, it's easy, it's short, it's quick, it's easy. So that is why this is the reality, and it's a very dark reality, to be very honest. Formalin, one of the most dangerous chemicals which is available to mankind, and it's actually used for preserving so that bodies don't rot, so that people who live far away, just to see a glimpse of their loved ones the last time. That is why this chemical was actually used to prevent human bodies or bodies from actually rotting by coming in contact with air. But see, this is what's happening. It's coming into our daily lives, in the way in which we consume our food, our vegetables, especially for Bengalis, fishes. It's a very, very important part of our Bengali people's diet, and things that that so that they don't perish, because those are very perishable items, so they don't perish when they come in contact with air and water. That is the reason why formalin is being injected into these fishes, especially wax is being used in apples nowadays. That is why, even if you start washing them so rigorously, you have to wash each and every fruits and vegetables that you consume rigorously. It's recommended that you boil them before you eat. I mean, things are, I mean, this is the current state. And see, this is the harmful chemicals which are, as I mentioned, I mean, telling you, right, this is everywhere. I mean, look at the amount of glyphosate, I mean, sugar, artificial sweeteners. I mean, you can find these sodas and everything for $20, $10 over there. But if you want, if you're asking someone for water, you'll probably have to walk a couple of meters, or you'll have to probably buy a 20 rupees bottle or something, which is actually equivalent to a 20 rupees soda. So you imagine what this bottle of water is doing to your body, and what this bottle of soda will be doing to your body. It's equivalently priced, but it's hell in heaven equally. All these chow mein, all these everything which consume. We love consuming Chinese, right? And chemical called monosodium glutamate. There's artificial food colorings. I just heard a very sad news of a 10-year-old, or probably a very young girl child, just eating you know cake which is made by a bakery, and just after eating a couple of hours, she she vomited very badly. She was taken to the hospital, and she succumbed to her health condition. Can you imagine that? This is the kind of harmful chemicals which are being used in our daily lives, which we want to use them as precious memories, and this is what's happening. No, who see, there is no one to take accountability in our country. And see, the reason why I mention accountability, look at this latest report over here. I mean 12% of Indian tested spices are failing our FSI quality. FSI itself is having a very dubious record, where you know many of these many of these spices, and many of these, basically the food which you consume is it's supposed to be regulated by them. But imagine the plight that when these masalas, so called our export, was went to these Middle Eastern countries, even European countries, and when they got tested in their laboratories, that is when dangerous chemicals were found, and literally, you know these masalas and everything were boycotted from there. So can you imagine that? This is such a dangerous news, because we as Indians consume these masalas on an everyday basis, and it's not just because it's MDH over here. It could be any masala. It could be any new company which might be launching its product at a very affordable cost, but you have no idea what is the ingredient which is being, or what is the chemical which is being used in that. So my question is, what do we do? What can we do actually, so that we don't see, this might be just our condition, that we are going through our lives, but suddenly all hell breaks loose, and we have to rush to the nursing home, we have to rush to the hospital, pour lakhs of our savings, our ambitions, our passion just goes through the drains, and we have to start at square one. We have to go back to square one, and that is just how it began. And most importantly, what I find most dangerous is that people are getting affected mentally. It's a very common understanding that our body and our mind is very much related. The reason why I'm saying that is because our body and mind is completely, what I would say is, it's just that it it is connected in such a way that if your body and mind, if your mind is sound, your body will not be, your body will be sound. But it's an absolutely connected, what we say, connected relationship, where this is affecting so many people in so many ways. Okay, so what do we do? What can we do? Do we just give up? Because everything is looking very bleak. You look all around yourself, especially when I'm living in India. I feel that each and every day there is, each and every day things are just heading for the worse. But as I told you, that each and every dark tunnel, there's always a light at the end. There's always a way. After the darkest night, that is when the sun rises, as you can see. So I mean that is what human race is all about, right? So we never give up. That is the main motto. So why, and I'm getting that point, that why we feel that we do not give up, is because, see, a very I would say an underrated book by Henry G. Beeler, which is mentioned, food is your best medicine. Basically, unadulterated food, or food which is not, or which doesn't have as many chemicals in them, is your best medicine. Basically, medicine which we consume is actually chemicals which are supposed to give us relief, right? But you ask any doctor and they'll tell you, have some good foods, take rest, avoid rich spicy foods, and just go through the motions and you will feel better in a couple of days. Why do they tell you that? Because food is supposed to heal you from internally, right? And Dr. Bernard Johnson told us very simply that, you know that if toxins in our body, it's not removed, if it's accumulated in our body day after day, if it stays in our body, if it's not flushed out like the way it's supposed to be, then it will affect 90% of our, all the every disease which you tell, every disease which you see which is affecting us, or surrounding us, is going through our gut area. That is the reason why it is so important to tell, or make people acknowledge that gut is a very important part of our body, because that is where most of our, before, all these nutrients and everything get absorbed over there. So, if we have to stay, or if we have to stay healthy, we need to be very careful of our gut health. See, our health system is designed in such a way that basically, what our body is comprised of is cell. How basically a cell gets all its nutrients, or where the cell, gets its energy from, is by the way of we when we consume food, right? So basically, if we break down food, whatever we are eating, it can be broken down to proteins, vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates, fat, fiber, and obviously we have water, right? So basically all of these energy goes into the cell. Then there are millions and billions of cell which make, a tissue, and then there are multiple millions of tissues which makes you a single organ, and all those organs in your body makes it up a system. This is the basic, this is the basic system of our human body, right? But the main problem with nowadays which has happened is that the doctor, whenever they prescribe you a medicine, what happens is that, for example, if you're having some intense, pain in your stomach or something, the doctors will give you painkillers. They will probably give you some sort of medication which will give you relief, or probably medication which is, going straight to your stomach, especially to give you relief, in, probably to, heal you in some sort of way. And then they tell you to avoid some sort of food, get some tests done or something. But the main problem is that they cannot go direct to the root. There's something called root cause analysis. In this sense, it is called the cell, because the cell tells, because actually it is not the organ, it is actually within the organ, the tissues, it is the cells which is basically, which have been dead, which are not working correctly, which need to be repaired in some way. So that is where our health system is lacking, and that is the reason why nutrition in food is in such a delicate balance. I mean, you know nowadays, we actually don't even know what is proper nutrition. Yes, we are becoming more and more aware, but there's a huge scope for it. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you look around you and look at the excess salt, sugar, fat, calorie, carbohydrate. You look at each and every food around you, you will find that all these components are in an exponential rise. But what the human body is on deficiency, like deficient actually, is vitamins, minerals, proteins, and fiber, and people are not drinking enough water. So this is the current reality which is happening, and very, very important and apt to say is that you are what you eat. When we say that, oh, this person is glowing, the skin is such in a is so good, what why we are saying it, because their food habits, they exercise regularly, they probably take some sort of a nutrition, they probably take some sort of supplements, anything which can be done in their daily routine, which is making them, set apart from people. But the current reality, or people who are in working class, who are, people who are, I mean, I mean, I would just say that people who I would say who are stuck in some sort of a cycle, like a repeated cycle, right? And to them, whenever they get ill, the quickest and the easiest way is to take some sort of a painkiller and medicine, paracetamol, anything which is available over the counter, and just get rid of that pain, and then just go to the work next day, and then keep rolling over work until and unless you have to rush to the hospital without unbearable pain. So I mean, look at this. Medicines are becoming drugs for us. Might not be drug addicts, but we are getting, basically, we cannot live without medicines at the moment. And why I'm saying medicines is because it's a harsh reality. Yes, India is the pharmaceutical capital of the world. We produce so many medicines at a very affordable cost, but we must remember that these medicines are just making us their customers. We are not cured or healed by them. Yes, we might get temporary relief, which is required. I'm not saying that you take you just I mean just go through the pain or something. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that you look for the cure. You have to look what heals you. So what is the solution? The solution which I feel over here is that the doctors of the future, and this is not said by me, this is said by Thomas Alva Edison, the person who actually invented the light bulb. So they have told in a very simple manner that doctor of the future will no longer treat the human frame with the drugs, but rather will cure and prevent disease with nutrition. Simple fact is that they will cure by nutritions only. I mean, they will not just cure, they will prevent diseases. More important is prevention. Prevention is better than cure. You can only get cure when you're affected, when you're already in the hospital, and then you're getting cured. But imagine that you are actually so ably bodied or super bodied that you can actually prevent these diseases, and that is where Moringo Bioscience, or Moringo, I mean basically our products come into the spotlight. So why I'm saying Moringo Bioscience is one of the best is because of the brainchild of Dr. Karen Vieira. Dr. Karen Vera herself was a research scientist and a PhD in biomedical sciences, and she herself, was someone who was affected by sickle cell disease. So she, someone who has gone through that pain, and someone who wants to figure out something which can actually prevent these diseases from happening to people. So that is, I mean, you can already see the details of her in the screen. And basically this company is a nutraceutical development company. One of its offices is located in New York as well, and its manufacturing facility is also there in Florida as well, where most of its formulation, everything gets manufactured over there. And now, time to meet the superfoods. What we mean by superfoods is only three foods as of now. There's a fourth one coming very soon, but until and unless it does, we will stick to the three only. The first one is obviously zoyzine, celeric, and phytoshine. I'll get to the details over here, and you'll see why I'm saying these are superfoods. Okay, the first one. I mean, it's one of my personal favorite. I've been using this for a very, very long time. I'm currently still using it, and the reason why is because look at the ingredients. I mean, we all have Instagram, right? I mean, you must be scrolling through Instagram, Facebook multiple times throughout the day, and I mean, you must have heard someone called Food Farmer. Food Farmer has actually taught us to look into the ingredients of any product and make sure that it is actually suitable for you. So even like Food Farmer, I'm telling you now, look into the ingredients of our product. See, what are the ingredients? Moringa aloe vera powder, spirulina powder, holy basil leaf powder, papaya leaf, very important in the months of, especially in India, when there's dengue cases on the rise. Papaya leaf is very important. Black cumin powder, piper nigam extract. I mean, these are absolutely, you know I mean, look, I mean, these ingredients are absolutely top notch. I mean, Moringa oleifera powder is known as, it's something called known as the miracle tree. I mean, it has the ability to cure 300 diseases. And the reason why I was calling this the antiviral king is because, I mean, this specifically, I used it because I was affected by jaundice in my college days. So in those, I mean, I had a very weak liver. But now what I can do after consuming Zoising for a couple of months, I mean, I can feel that now I can literally, in metaphor, obviously, I can even eat rocks and digest it. I mean, that is how strong my digestive system has become. It's not a joke, guys. This is a reality. So next, see benefits. I mean, as I told you, liver health, digestion, blood platelet, as I was saying, the papaya leaf powder is very important. Then obviously balances hormones, helps in relieving cold, cough, flu, and chest congestion. That's the reason why I told you it's very very important with people who have stomach problems, who are frequently affected by cold, weather changes, anything. And now the most which we feel is our mother product. The reason why mother product is because this, I mean, it's not like it's our favorite product. It is obviously one of our favorites, but it is such a powerful product. I mean, look at the ingredients and look at how many proteins, vitamins, minerals, fibers it has. I mean, and also I would like to take your attention. Look into the left portion of your screen, and you will see something called new US patent number, and there's already a patent number, US patent number, which is already there. I mean, company is doing day and nights. They're literally putting day and nights together so that the formulation of this product stays intact. We have the patent which is provided to us, the US patent which is provided to us. It has been renewed in last year as well. And so basically, this formulation, everything can be sustained in a very safe manner, so that people can, whenever they're consuming this product, they know that they're actually consuming an original product. And look at the number of, the number of benefits it gives you. See, before I get into benefits, you look at the ingredients. I mean, moringa leaf, as I told you, miracle tree. You have the oregano leaf extract powder, obviously rosemary, immunity. Shilajit is very very important for vitality and energy, especially people, who have less energy, especially people who have less, what I would say, strength, you know v- vigorous energy, anything which comes to mind. It comes from basically shilajit itself. Pomegranate, very very important. And this is the reason why pomegranate is so expensive, especially as a fruit. I mean, I have never seen pomegranates cheap. I mean, pomegranates is very very important, and it's the peel, guys. It's not just the, we crush the pomegranate in itself. It's the peel which we are using. Very important for heart health. Spirulina, very important for nervous and brain functions. Fenugreek helps in digestion. Amla, very very important for skin and hair health. And curcumin, obviously. I mean, we in our Indian culture, curcumin is such an important recipe in especially in everything which we consume. And it's a very good, what we say, in case, if you get some cuts or bruises or something, you can immediately apply curcumin, and it will stop the septus. It's a very good antiseptic over here. And obviously piperiggum powder. The reason why is because all these nutrients need to be absorbed into your body, right? I mean, if you just throw them in your mouth one after the other, yes, you'll be able to, obviously, albeit the bitter taste and everything, you'll be able to digest it. But what about the nutrients? Will it get absorbed into your body? No. I mean, some might, but some is not good enough. You need large portions of nutrition to be absorbed in your body, so that they can go through your body and actually do the work, right? Benefits. And these are just some of the benefits, guys. Strengthen immunity system, regulate blood pressure, it even cleanses the toxins. It's very very good for heart health, and obviously it will purify the blood, and obviously mental alertness, manage cholesterol level. And very important, which I found in no other products, is that it can actually even help in especially deadly skin diseases, or not deadly, but very very irritating skin disease or recurring skin diseases, psoriasis, eczema. We have multiple accounts in our own company which have mentioned that there are extreme cases of psoriasis being cured by our product. Now, the one thing, the breakthrough innovation is obviously Moringo Celeric. See, even in our box, we write in big letters, enhance stem cell growth. But what is stem cell? So basically, stem cells are undifferentiated cells which have the capacity to multiply from different cells. So basically, these are cells which can multiply in an innumerable way, in where basically they can become cells and support us, because we have stem cells in our body, right? Our bone marrow, everywhere there are, I think, multiple places, I'm not exactly sure, but there are multiple places in the body where stem cell occurs. But what happens over time, or what happens when we become ill, or when we when due to our current diet and lifestyle, is that these places, they are blocked, they're not working as efficiently. So what's happening is that these cells are not multiplying. But stem cells is such an important part, guys. The reason why is because especially nowadays, stem cell is being used in so many, to cure so many diseases. Look at that baldness. That's a very big concern. People are losing hair very fast these days. Blindness, deafness, I mean, diabetes, Crohn's disease, osteoarthritis. As I told you, bone marrow transplantation, that's happening very commonly nowadays. People are, missing teeth, wound healing, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease in the brain. That is happening. Our neurons can be healed. And so, what are the ingredients? As I've told you, always look for the ingredients. Basically, seaweed is an excellent source of antioxidant, source of iodine. It helps in your heart health, it helps to lose weight, is a very very good source of vitamins and minerals, and it can obviously treat injuries and skin health and everything. Ashwagandha. In Ayurveda, Ayurveda is incomplete without Ashwagandha. It is such a powerful unit or component of our celeric, that it's everywhere. It is pervasive in Ayurveda. Pomegranate, you know pomegranates is so, as I told you, as I mentioned earlier, it was in phytoshine as well. Now it's in celeric. Phytoshine, look at that, it prevents cancer, it prevents premature aging, right? We don't get skin, wrinkles and everything. It keeps Alzheimer's at bay. All the scrolling and everything, you might heard of the term doom scrolling, right? People are just scrolling endlessly, hours and hours of the day. So what happens, that you become extreme risk at of Alzheimer's when you become aged. So people might be having 70 80s, but that might get pushed up to in your 40s or 50s. You might get affected by Alzheimer's. So, and obviously this is a very very dark um, reality. So obviously this is what's helping over here. And glutathione is a very newly added ingredient which has been added. And the reason why I'm mentioning glutathione, because you look at some people, look at celebrities, you look at people, you just say that, oh wow, the skin is glowing, you have such radiant skin, you literally, they feel like they're glowing, right? It's because of glutathione, guys. It's because glutathione is it contains so much antioxidants within itself, that it's basically anti-aging power. You look younger than what you are. And it's obviously helping in chronic diseases, heart diseases, everything else. And obviously very important, marine magnesium is very very important. It helps in you in relaxation, sleep quality. Sleep is something which we are constantly deprivated of. People are just sleeping very little nowadays. The sleep quality, you are getting so many smartwatches, so many gadgets nowadays measuring your sleep quality, but the actual thing which you need to sleep, you cannot, right? You're not able to sleep 7 hours daily. This is where main magnesium helps, that you actually get the quality. Even if you sleep for about 5 or 6 hours, you get proper sleep. Your muscles get relaxed as well. Your pains and aches and sensitivity, everything reduces. So basic benefits of this is, obviously, it helps support bone, nerve, liver, immunity, everything. And then, obviously, effective detoxifying agent. And now, why you should be consuming them, why do you feel that this is what's needed? The reason why I'm saying that is because look at all these certifications. I mean, it can be consumed everyone, by everybody. See, look at that: halal certified, natural ingredients, organic herb extracts. It's everywhere, guys. And it's Ayush certified, Fasai certified, patent. It's a patented product. It's not just any random product of the street. It's a patented product. See, as I told you, so many products, so many certifications they support. And see, look at all the USP. You can read them off your screen, but I'll just like to point out one point. Look at number 6, reasonable price. See, these products, these are not going to cost you, lakhs and or millions of your money. This is something which is affordable, which has been kept by the company in an affordable rate, so that everyone has a chance to actually experience this, and or actually, so that they can experience the power of this product, and keep using it. It's not a one time wonder, right? It's not like, you will just take it once and all your problems or all your pain will just alleviate by themselves. No, it's not a steroid, it's not a chemical, guys. You need to be able to use it. You need to be able to afford it for a couple of months. Depending upon your disease, it might take even a year, but I can assure you, the time from the time you start, you will feel different. And see, this is where our choice boils down to us, right? I mean, either you can live a happy, healthy life with your friends, enjoying the life to the fullest, but the other end could be a very dark. You can be frequently visiting the hospitals, nursing homes. You can be frequently just, I mean, everything just seems dark around us, right? So this is where I feel personally that your choice begins, and your choice will begin by choosing Moringo Bioscience. So, thank you, guys. Thank you once again. This is where our presentation will end for the day. Thank you so much if you're still watching over here, and have a great day, guys. Thank you so much.